Hey folks, JD here, and today I wanted to go over this. This is the Holy Stone HS220. Now, I've had this now for coming up to 6 months, and I wanted to give you my rundown on the quad. If you want to see more on this, because I've created quite a few videos on it, then you can just have a look in the description and you'll find all the videos I've done inside there relating to this particular quadcopter. Now, everybody I think likes a Holy Stone. Apart from the one person in the comments that's going to turn on to me after I've said that and said, I don't, I think they're terrible. But quite literally, I like them. I think they're great. They sometimes seem to think outside the box. They tend to, when they do tend to buy in an idea from another quadcopter, they tend to go for a good one. They tend to have pretty good batteries. They all tend to everything just tends to work pretty well. And it's no different for this particular quad. Now this quad is a dual mode quadcopter. So you can either fly it as a quite large tiny whoop like this, or you can fold it out, and that in itself gives you another quadcopter again, another style. This time when you do fold it out, you have a camera here, which otherwise when you're flying it in whoop mode, the propeller arm, or the propeller duct rather, blocks the camera, so you can't have a camera when you're flying tiny whoop unless you pull this out. Now even when you do, if you fly in this mode or if you fly in tiny whoop mode, I think you will find that this quadcopter flies very well in both. I enjoy it in both modes. Now if I was to say a mode that I preferred, of course it is going to be tiny whoop. You don't need the camera's pretty terrible, but the flight of this is really good. Now I think, if memory serves, this has 4 speed modes, and those speed modes are very quick. Start off speed mode 1, quite gentle, quite nice, get used to the quad, and if you want your battery to maximise its life, this is the speed mode that you're going to have to want to put your quadcopter in. Of course, in speed mode 1, if you do have any environmental factors like a lot of wind or wind bashing against the quad, that in itself is going to drain your battery, and it's also going to give you a very sticky situation where you may not be able to get through the wind, you may not be able to power through because these brush motors aren't powerful enough. Stepping it up to speed mode 2, 3 and 4 will get you through those environmental factors, but don't forget, once the wind drops, this quad will just carry on going, and at a rate of knots too. It's pretty quick. Now, there was one thing I tried in the videos, as I'm sure if you want to look back and have a look, and that was the on and off button here. So the on and off button is a tap button, so you tap it on, you tap it off. When the quadcopter is on, this button is still enabled, so you can just tap it on mid-flight and it will fall to the ground. That's something that did shock me a little bit. I would have wanted that to have been disabled. It's not that much of a big deal in order to do that, but I think that would have really, in my eyes, would have taken it from a very good quad to an excellent quad. Now I know you people, a lot of people are going to be thinking, well, what's the point of that when you're flying? You're not going to turn this off. It's just one more little bit attention to detail that I really respect and I really want them to do. Yes, okay, you're not going to be turning it off mid-flight, but at the same time, having that enabled and not having it disabled mid-flight, I think, as I say, is just a little bit of attention to detail I would have liked them to have actually completed. Now, the overall build quality of the quad, I think, is pretty good. It's very light, very, very light. Of course, it has no battery at the minute, so it's going to be even lighter. But this is a nice looking quad. It's a nice feeling quad as well. Now, as I don't plan on crashing, any of my quads, I think it's quite nice. It does feel quite thin plastic. Obviously, it's not very thick. And the quadcopter, even with the propeller arms out, does flex quite nicely. See, it molds and flexes, so you get even the body does to a certain extent. So you can actually pass through the wind quite nicely and the breeze, and it flies really, really spectacularly. When you are altering the transmitter, your controls are relayed very, very well. Now, what I remember is that the app, that's one thing that really sticks in my mind. Now, one of the reasons I prefer to fly it in whoop mode like this is because the camera is covered. Now, if the camera is covered, you don't need to have the app. If you don't have the app, you don't have to see exactly how bad that app is. The app is very whitewashed, very, very, very whitewashed indeed, and that in itself doesn't work very well when you have the buttons up at the top. Now those buttons are standard app, quadcopter app buttons like take photo, take video, look at your photos, look at your videos, return to home, VR mode. I couldn't see, and I think I said in the flight video about 3 or 4 times, that I couldn't see that top bar of buttons very easily at all, and it's actually a massive letdown, because when you're flying and when you want to take a photo or something, you've either got to remember which button it is on the transmitter, and as all of you know by now, my memory is absolutely awful, or you can just look at the app and click the take photo button, and then obviously then your photo is gonna be taken. But I couldn't see the buttons in order to take the photo, so that's a massive downside. So this is a reason why I prefer to fly it in whoop mode like this. Camera's disabled, don't need the app, simple as that. And quite simply, that is it. Everything else about this quad I really quite like. Now, I haven't tried a lot of the features because it hasn't got GPS, and going off experience of flying these for many years, if you don't have GPS and if you do try a lot of these features, a lot of the features and functions don't work as expected. So therefore, rather than people thinking that I'm saying the quadcopter is terrible, I would just rather not use those features because they're never features I will ever use in a non-GPS quad. This to me is a really fun flyer, and as a consequence it's ever so much fun to fly it like this. Very basic, and just have fun with it. Another downside of it is it was very expensive. Now I believe I was given this, but I think if you were to buy it, when I was looking at buying it when it had just come out about 7 months ago, it was over £100, and I would not pay that for this. I think either I was given it or I paid about 80 or 90 for it. But I still think that is still very high for this particular quad, because even now you've got quads bleeding into the market which are at £100–150 price point, which have full GPS modules attached, which means you get a bit of distance. The cameras are, well, passable. They're all pretty bad, but they're passable. And you get a lot more for your money. And at least 7 out of 10 times these days they come with brushless motors as well for that particular money. I haven't found these brush motors to be bad because you have 4 speed modes. All in all, I found this to be a real winner, and that's another reason as to why I've kept it. I don't keep a lot of the ones that I don't like. I'd rather fly them and then pass them on to other people to see what they think. But this is why this has stayed in my collection, because I've really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to be enjoying this for a while yet. Alright then, my friends, thanks ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and ring that bell too. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.